Hi, this is Brad. If you've seen any of my social media posts, you know I'm a huge fan of Napoleon Hill, and right now I'm reading Outwitting the Devil, which has been quite interesting. I wanted to talk today about fear and faith. He's got some really interesting thoughts about that. Before we go there, we have to go back a bit and define something that's a pretty critical term. So he's actually having a conversation with Andrew Carnegie when Hill apparently was like a teenager. And we get this conversation and these comments from Carnegie, and excuse me, I'll be flipping around to different pages. Along toward the end of your labor, if you carry it through successfully, you will make a discovery which may be a great surprise to you. You will discover that the cause of success is not something separate and apart from the men. It is a force so intangible in nature that the majority of men never recognize it, a force which might be properly called the other self. Noteworthy is the fact that this other self seldom exerts its influence or makes itself known, excepting at times of unusual emergency, when men are forced, through adversity and temporary defeat, to change their habits and to think their way out of difficulty. So then we move on, and we have Hill talking about faith and fear. He writes, "Faith is a state of mind, and its condition precedent to the discovery of one's other self. The opposite of faith is fear. It, too, is a state of mind which sometimes is induced by realities, and at other times by imaginary causes. Let us examine the nature of these two states of mind, so that we may better understand why we must embrace one and repel the other, if we are to place ourselves on speaking terms with this other self. Faith permits one to approach within communicating distance of infinite intelligence, or God, if you prefer that term. Fear holds one at arm's length and makes communication impossible." He goes on, "I repeat that I do not know exactly what this other self is, but I know enough about it to lean upon it in a spirit of absolute faith, in times of difficulty, when the ordinary reasoning faculty of my mind seems to be inadequate for my needs." And finally, "Just now the whole world is undergoing a change of such stupendous proportions that millions of people have become panic-stricken with worry, doubt, indecision, and fear." Sound familiar? "It seems to me that now is a splendid time for those who have come to the crossroads of doubt to endeavor to become acquainted with their other selves." Hope you've enjoyed this. Gives me certainly a different perspective on faith and fear. I hope you'll join me next time. We'll be back in this book talking about Hill's conception of deity and prayer.